In version 1.30 of Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Rising, Katalina and Lancelot have both received a couple of changes, which I'll cover in this video. Katalina has some changes largely regarding her heavy and ultimate fireball skills. She does have one small quality of life change where her standing 5L has increased downward range. So you can see here that Lancelot is being whiffed on. We will compare that to the other version, or the current version of the game. This is the old version of the game on this archipelago map. Her Frozen Blade used to behave like this, where if the first hit would leave the opponent grounded on hit, and you could use this for some combo potential in the mid-screen, as well as in the corner, getting full stand extensions, which were pretty good for combo routes. That didn't combo. Medium does, though. So, but ultimately, what Cygames and Arc System Works decided to do with the character there was to change it so that the Frozen Blade Heavy version will now launch on hit. We're going to swap over to my PlayStation 5 that has the updated version of the game, and now you can see Frozen Blade behaves like this. You can still link a 2M after this as well in the mid-screen, possibly leading to some other combo routing. And in the corner, you will get launched on hit. So in a way, for this situation, I do think that that is a nerf to the fireball in the corner, just because you don't get long grounded hits with it in the corner. However, in mid-screen, it is useful that your heavy fireball does give knockdown, because now you're actually able to advance and get some Oki off of this if it does hit. It also does have a bit of hit stun when it clashes with another projectile, but looking at it, I couldn't really tell that much, but there might be a little bit of slowdown. The biggest change to Katalina is to her Frozen Blade Ultimate version. So if we looked at this before, it's a grid fireball, goes full screen pretty quickly, but you can see pretty much impossible to get any sort of conversion off of this. Well, I won't say impossible, but difficult enough to get it. They've extended the hit stop from 4 frames, so it's no longer -2. It's supposed to be +2. Knockback has been reduced, and upon connecting mid-air, opponents will now wall bounce even when toward the middle of the screen. So if I make Lancelot jump real quick. Excuse me, wrong button. You can get these aerial hits, but you don't really get much reward for them, or at least you didn't before. But now, with the current version of the move, you can see that they are left a lot closer, where you're able to more reliably in some ranges link an attack. At full screen, it doesn't seem like you get the same, effect, but up close, excuse me, wrong input. You are going to be able to get some possible connections that didn't work before, but more importantly is that on connecting with a mid-air opponent, you do get this wall bounce effect. So you will be able to link some things off of this one. I just did a dash light there for the sake of simplicity, but I'm sure Katalina mains might be able to find some other combo utility off of it. This does mean that her Frozen Blade is a stronger tool for neutral, because you do get a knockdown with the heavy version on hit, meaning you're able to press your offense more reliably from a neutral hit, as well as using the Frozen Blade as a more full screen threat that does give more reward to it. Those are all the changes that Katalina has reportedly got. I did mention the long-range 5L. As you can see right here, this was about the range where it was whiffing on Lancelot before, and now this is hitting pretty consistently on him. So this is a nice quality of life change where all of a sudden you can press these buttons and you can reliably catch the opponent regardless of whether or not they're standing or crouching. This just means that she'll function a lot more consistently, and that's a good thing. Lancelot's changes are largely nerfs. So his Dash Light has a change where properties were made so that it doesn't advance while recovering anymore. As you can see, he gets pulled back more. This does mean that his dash pressure is he's not going to have a strong throw presence off of this. He kind of has to walk in like other characters might have to as well. Whereas if we looked at this before, you can see that he is left a lot closer in this context. I'll go ahead and make Katalina block as well. Let's take control of him, not make him play. So overall, like, this should kind of just make it so that his dash light attack behaves kind of like some other ones. You do still have to walk forward to get the throw there, but this will create some just differences in like setups and micro situations, I think. The other changes are to his ultimate fireball, where the skill will activate at frame 18 instead of 15 for him. So right here, this is a pretty quick move. You can get this set up. Might be hard to react to, if not impossible to. And then there's also his Blade Impulse, which, let me see if I can... So this move has increased a recovery when whiffed by 9 frames. So if I record him... If I record him doing that, I remember my block button real quick. If you spot dodge here, you can even sell that... Oh, he's like +1, +5 in this situation, so this is, you know, not really a reliable option for you to have gone for. You kind of have to block this, hold this. At least in the old version of the game. In the new version of the game, his fireball is now 3 frames slower. It starts up at frame 18. Excuse me, I did actually the wrong attack. So this could result in a couple of changes to setups. Maybe they're not perfectly meaty. Maybe you have an opportunity to react and spot dodge it on Okizeme so that you avoid him putting the freezing debuff on you. We'll see how that ultimately pans out. But the more important thing is Blade Impulse. Not the more important thing, but the more easy to see thing is if we go through a Blade Impulse and we spot dodge it, all of a sudden now we get a punish. So there is a little bit more counterplay to the Blade Impulse move from Lancelot, meaning that while it's still going to be a great combo tool for him, because I believe this is the one that gives him the restand. Correct me if I'm wrong, my friends, in the YouTube comments below. But now there is a bit of counterplay so that he can't just go for instant skip neutral and force his turn on any sort of grounded situation. If you're able to react to this move, you do get rewarded for it, and I think that's a healthy change overall. And that summarizes the changes for Katalina and Lancelot. Lancelot had a couple of his stronger tools nerfed in some small ways. The Fireball change is going to be one where there's going to be a little bit more time required to study the implications of it. Obviously, it being slower means that there's possibility you could beat it out in neutral more reliably, as well as, like, this was namely going to change some of his setup in the corner. That's where a lot of high-level Lancelots would use this attack, is as part of their Okizeme to put the debuff on you. So maybe there's more counterplay to that option, as well as the Blade Impulse. Katalina, her Fireball giving knockdown from neutral is good for her. It means she's able to win ground from the neutral, even if it does potentially mean that her combo routing in the corner is a little more scuffed at times, or at least not as strong, because she launches the opponent sooner and therefore starts to initiate the combo limit scaling, whereas she didn't before. But I think it's worth it to have a stronger Fireball to gain ground in neutral, as well as an ultimate Fireball skill that could potentially be more threatening in neutral. So those are the changes. I don't think these characters will shift around much, but it's nice to see that Katalina at least has a couple quality of life functionality changes that should make her a little more fun to play. And Lancelot should be brought down in line just a bit.